Are you cool with Adelaide right now?
Ooh.
They won the pre-season. You said they'd make the 4. You jumped off pretty quickly, and unfortunately a zip-and-2 weekend. An ongoing conversation about their import. Of course, no Isaac Humphries, which is bound to hurt any team because he's been so great when we've been able to see him in the last season and a half. Where do you sit on Adelaide right now? I know Matt Logue was suggesting Scotty Hopson was going to roll on in. I don't know where that is, but it hasn't happened yet. So as we sit here, they still need an import. Corey, tell me.
They do. One thing I can say is, despite the loss to Sydney, Dusty Hannah, shout out to you. You had that was your best game of the year. Like, you really, really balled out. Todd Withers had a really good game as well. And I called those guys out saying we need more from them. And they showed up. It was just Jalen Adams went, and that man right there is the best player on that team, Cam Bairstow. He's an awards watch as well. Dusty, very crafty with the ball. Withers, again, as I said, you know, he showed up. He can shoot from the perimeter. He's a good offensive player. He just needs more touches. And as you see, when they got him the balls, he performed. But this man right here, man, he was so clutch. He had a really good game. But it just wasn't enough. It's just inconsistent play by Adelaide. This was their best game that I saw them play in a while.
Yeah.
Again, it was just Jalen Adams that just destroyed them. Defensively, they just had no answer for him.
Yeah, the frustrating thing with this is, Pete, that man who was great, right? You mentioned inconsistency, and I understand there's been some injury concerns, and, you know, obviously we're looking for a third import still. Well, not we, but they are. Like, the inconsistency, Dusty Hannahs has been inconsistent. Like, if this is the Dusty Hannahs
every game
that we all thought we were going to get when we watched that YouTube video and the dude hits 100 in a row, then all of a sudden we're talking about a different Adelaide team, because you're right, they take it up to the best team or one of the best teams in the league, and it takes a 3 on the buzzer to get beat. Dusty Hannahs is almost whatever he does, and where he sits is what Adelaide does.
Yeah, it's the import signing ones. I mean, I've heard a couple of whispers, and I'm not dropping anything here because Matt Lowe went with Scotty Hopson. I think every Adelaide fan was getting excited. So until a little bit more comes out of it, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
So John Casey dropped that it's someone who has played in the league before. Are you also hearing something like that?
Yes, and I don't know if it's necessarily, from what I'm hearing, is the right position that I think that they need.
Well, what position are you hearing they're going to fill?
Or I'm hearing in the guard spot.
They're going to go into the guard
That's
spot.
what I'm hearing, and I could be completely off, but that's just a couple of whispers. That's why I won't drop any names yet. But I think their biggest issue, we saw it in the Sydney Kings game, Cam Bairstow's been great. Daniel Johnson's good on the offensive end. What big do you have to really, obviously, demand the ball every single time, but to be able to guard a ball screen success? Look at the top-tier teams in the league. Jalen Adams is going to be in the pick and roll a lot. Who can show, who can have a different side of mismatch? Cam Bairstow is great switching. Daniel Johnson, we know in the pick and roll, that's not going to be where he's at his best. So who do you really have as that big centre position to really just dominate on both sides of the floor? That's where I think they need a little bit of help. Because Isaac Humphries, again, I had them in the top 4 way early in the preseason because a healthy Isaac Humphries, I thought this is going to change. Mitch McCarron would be a little bit more open about the way he plays the game. So it's definitely hurts.